A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a bold move, over 190 current and former employees of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, have signed an open letter criticizing the leadership of the agency under the Trump administration. The letter, which was published on Monday, highlights concerns regarding the qualifications of those at the helm of FEMA, particularly in light of the agency's critical role in disaster preparedness and response. The signatories argue that the agency is in a precarious state, potentially leading to disasters on the scale of Hurricane Katrina if changes are not made. This stark warning comes as FEMA employees face repercussions for their dissent, with several being placed on leave following the letter's release. The letter was organized by the nonprofit Stand Up for Science and directed to Congress, voicing the urgent need for reform within FEMA. The signatories claim that the current leadership lacks the necessary legal qualifications and experience to effectively manage the agency's responsibilities. They assert that the decisions made by FEMA's senior officials have eroded the agency's capacity to respond to emergencies and have marginalized experienced staff whose knowledge is vital for effective emergency management. One of the most vocal critics of the current FEMA leadership is Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who has publicly expressed her dissatisfaction with the agency since taking office. In a statement, a FEMA spokesperson responded to the criticism by suggesting that the employees who objected to the changes were part of a bureaucratic system resistant to reform. They emphasized that the agency's focus should be on serving the American people rather than protecting outdated systems. The letter's signatories pointed to the failures of the federal response during Hurricane Katrina in 2005, which resulted in significant loss of life and property damage. They argue that the lessons learned from that disaster are being disregarded under the current leadership, potentially setting the stage for similar failures in future emergencies. The letter states that the inexperience of senior leaders and the federal government's inability to provide timely and effective aid left many survivors without support during one of the worst disasters in U.S. history. In response to the criticism, President Trump and Secretary Noem have advocated for a shift in disaster response leadership, suggesting that local officials should take charge rather than relying on federal oversight. This approach has drawn mixed reactions, with some praising the emphasis on local control, while others express concern about the potential for disorganization and inefficiency without a strong federal framework. The fallout from the open letter has raised questions about the future of FEMA and its ability to respond to disasters effectively. The agency has faced scrutiny in recent years, particularly following its handling of various disasters, including the devastating floods in North Carolina caused by Hurricane Helene in September 2024. Critics argue that the federal response was inadequate and that political affiliations influenced the distribution of aid. As the situation unfolds, it remains to be seen how the Trump administration will address the concerns raised by FEMA employees and whether significant reforms will be implemented to ensure the agency can fulfill its mission of protecting American lives and property during disasters. The ongoing debate about the role of FEMA and its leadership will likely continue to be a contentious issue in the political landscape as the country prepares for future emergencies. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.